It's time again for the Science Bowl.
Zoo Parade for 5. What big teeth the hippo has are actually a pair of these. Science Potpourri for 10. Would a snake most likely eat every day? Every week, Dateline Science for 10. Why are some elephants wearing necklaces these days? Green things for 15.
And now, here's your host, Mr. Z himself, Dave Zarin.
Thank you, and welcome to the Science Bowl. This is it. 32 elementary schools started our season, and we are down to the final 2. This is the championship match for the Elementary Science Bowl in this, our 36th year. And the 2 teams competing today have never, ever been in the finals. We have a team here from Bodyy Williams and a team from Foote. One of them will be taking home a gold medal, and another is going to be taking home a silver medal. We have one for each of the players, our main players and the alternates. And to get us started today, and to let our teams know how much we appreciate them, we have a word here from our CEO, Dr. Monica Golson, specifically for these 2 schools.
Congratulations to our 2 finalists in the Science Bowl, Foote Elementary School and Bodyy Williams. I wish you both the best. Just know that as far as I'm concerned, you are our winners. Best of luck, and congratulations to whoever ends up with the most points.
Thank you very much, Dr. Golson, for joining us here on the Science Bowl. And it is now time to get started with our game. Those of you watching for the first time, we have 6 categories of questions, 18 questions for each of our 2 teams. Different questions of equal difficulty in categories from green things to zoo parades to Bodyy Systems to Let's Get Physical to Science Potpourri to Dateline Science. We start our teams out with 50 points, no penalties for any incorrect answer, so it is time to begin. Let's meet that team from Foote. Say hello, please, to the captain, Zoe. Hey, Zoe, wave to everybody at home if you would. Nice to see you back. And her twin is also on the team. Say hello to Ruby. Hey, Ruby. A wonderful player, just like her sister, and a terrific young man. Just seems to know everything about science. Jace is here. Hey, Jace, wave to everybody. So good to have you back here today. All right. If you're ready, let's get started with the green things category. Here are your plant questions. Here we go for 5 points. If you're trying to find a lost pet or to flush out a fox, it's often said that you should beat around these green things that are also called shrubs. You beat around the what?
Bush. Yeah, we're gonna go with bush.
It is. You beat around the bush. Absolutely correct. Good way to start the game. Let's go to 15 points in green things, a multiple choice question. You know, you can start new plants by taking cuttings from a plant that you already have. You snip off a stem and you can get a new plant. It works because all plants have a group of cells that can become roots, shoots, or leaves, depending on what the plant needs. That group of cells is known as the cambium, the meristem, or the epicotyl.
What do you guys
Listen carefully to those names again. Again, we're always trying to give you some hints. That group of cells that can become a root, shoots, or leaves, depending on what the plant needs, that group of cells is known as the cambium, the meristem, or the epicotyl.
Epicotyl means outside, so
All right, what do you think, Zoe?
I think
Your choice.
we're gonna go with epicotyl.
Epicotyl was a good try. Correct answer there is meristem. Meristem. You all heard of stem cells. Stem cells, even in our body, can become whatever the body needs. Same thing happens in a plant. Let's get this 25-point question. You know there is a war going on in Europe, in Ukraine. All of us have been following the happenings there. This flower, the national flower of Ukraine, is the best illustration in the plant world of heliotropism, Heliotropism. The best illustration in the plant world of heliotropism is this national flower of Ukraine.
So heliotropy means that it bends toward the light.
So we need a flower, a specific flower here. Best example of plants doing that.
Does a sunflower bend towards the light?
That's it. It is indeed the sunflower. Yes, helio is a prefix that actually does mean sun. So bending toward the sun, and you know the sunflower moves during the course of the day. All right, get yourself 25 points. Let's go to the zoo for 5 points. Perhaps people on the island of Komodo have learned the hard way how to train their what?
Dragon.
Dragons is right. How do you train your dragon? I think very carefully. I don't think they're very cuddly creatures there. Good answer. Let's go to 15 points in the zoo. Insects can taste with their feet. And since they don't have noses, they can smell with these appendages.
Do you guys think it's antennas? Or yeah.
Yep, it is. It's the antenna. Perfect answer. For 25 points to finish out the zoo, the toughest question in the category is a visual. Let's have a look. You know, when a lizard's tail breaks off, like you can see there, a form of self-defense if a predator grabs hold of it. The process is called autotomy, A-U-T-O-T-O-M-Y. Or, better known, it is a self-induced form of this A-initialed removal of a limb. If a limb is removed from a person because it is diseased, that A-initial term also applies to the loss of a tail by a lizard. Can you give me that A-initialed word?
It's a ruby.
What
Say it
do you
again.
call it?
Amputation. Amputation.
You got it. It is amputation. Thank you so much, Ruby. You came through. You got yourself 25 points. Excellent. Let's go to the Bodyy Systems. 3 questions before you take your first break. You know, walnuts, which resemble this organ, this is Bodyy Systems for 5 points. Walnuts, which resemble this organ, actually contain large amounts of omega-3 fatty acids, which are good for that organ. A shelled walnut looks like this organ, and that nut also contains good fatty acids that are good for the organ.
Does it look like a kidney or something?
Well, it's curved like a kidney,
Yeah.
and it looks like that.
So, what do you guys think? I think it's kidney, cause
What you going to say?
we're gonna go with kidney.
Kidney. You know, it's interesting. These nuts that we get in the stores oftentimes have been removed from their shells. So you've probably not seen walnuts in their shells. Walnuts look like little brains, and you have to crack them open. They have nut crackers, which most people don't even use anymore. Correct answer there was the brain. Let's go to 15 points in Bodyy Systems, and this is a bone marrow. Bone marrow is that substance, that soft, spongy substance inside your bone. This substance inside can be transplanted because this is the site where what kinds of blood cells are produced?
Red blood cells.
That is correct. Red blood cells are produced in the bone marrow along with white blood cells and platelets. All right. Last question in your opening round is a multiple choice question, 25 points. People who have problems with their thyroid gland, which is in the neck, often develop something called EXO, thalmia, P-H-T-A-L-M-I-A. If someone has exothalmia, you can tell because their eyes get red, they're blurry, or they stick out. Unmute yourselves, please.
Let Ruby answer.
Okay.
Ruby.
Stick out.
Stick out. Yes, ma'am. Absolutely right. They protrude. And a lot of commercials show, that there are medications that help that condition. Nicely done. Good first round. Those 25 points mean you end the first round with 165 points in this finale. Nicely done, Foote. We'll bring you back in a few moments, talk to you, and give you your last 9 questions. It is now time to meet that team from Phyllis E. Williams. Let's say hello to the captain, Allison. Hey, Allison, wave to everybody at home if you would. Allison's a terrific player, as is Ainsley. Hey, Ainsley, good to have you back. He is a safety patrol. He's wearing his sash there today. And Delali is with us. Delali, nice to have you on the show. Also, a terrific Science Bowl player, as you're about to see. All right, Phyllis A. Williams, let's get started. We have Green Things questions for you first. Let's go to Green Things for 5 points. Here we go. A favorite sort of yucky sounding snack is ants on a log. You make it by spreading peanut butter along the stalk of one of these green fiber-filled vegetables and then sprinkling it with raisins, which are the ants. Name that.
Celery.
Celery, yes indeed. Ants on a log is made with celery. Good answer, good start. Green Things for 15. Keep it going. Since an endangered milkweed plant in Texas spends most of its life underground as a tuber, as it waits for enough rain to surface and bloom, it is said to be in this D, as in David, in this D initial state, the equivalent of an animal's hibernation.
You said in Texas, correct?
Yes, in Texas. This plant doesn't rain a lot in Texas, so it stays underground as a tuber, waiting for the rain to come. When the rain comes and the soil gets soaked, up comes this milkweed plant and starts to bloom. That period where it's underground, where it is not active, is called this D initial state, equivalent to an animal's hibernation.
What do you guys think?
It's called dormant. It's dormant or dormancy. That's the same as hibernation. Let's go to 25 points. How many of you like bananas? Do you like bananas? I like bananas, sort of. I grew them once when I lived in the tropics. Bananas don't have seeds. You don't have to pick them out because bananas are sterile. They can't reproduce on their own because of the fact that they are triploid. That means they have 3 of these in each of their cells, which is an unequal number that makes reproduction and fertilization impossible. They only have in each cell 3 of these, the structures that contain all of the genetic information. Since 3 is an odd number, they cannot reproduce, they cannot fertilize successfully.
I think it's cells. What do you guys think?
These cells.
He said it was in the cells.
Okay.
Well,
It
does begin with a C. We're looking for chromosomes. Chromosomes, that's where all the genes are. It just has 3 chromosomes. Like we have 46, so when it's split in half, 23 and 23, male and the female, they come back together, they have 46, but 3 does not divide. So chromosomes was the right answer there. Let's go to zoo for 5 points. If you saw the movie Finding Nemo, you know Dory was a fish in there, the blue tang. While Dory, the blue tang fish in Finding Nemo, was known for her very short memory, so too in real life is this fish, a kind of carp that is a favorite of home aquarium owners, a fish that is unable to remember anything beyond 10 minutes.
A goldfish?
Yeah, it is a goldfish. Absolutely right. Goldfish is a kind of carp. Absolutely. Good answer. You got yourself 5 points. Let's go to 15 points in the zoo. 2-part answer. Without a nose, an insect breathes through tiny openings called spiracles that are found in these 2 sections of its 3-part body. There's the head, there's this, and there's this. Give me the middle and the last sections of the insect where these spiracles, these breathing holes are found.
Could you repeat that, please?
Insects breathe through tiny openings called spiracles that are found on these two sections of an insect's three-part body. The head is the first section. Give me the second and the third sections.
Torso, the torso and
The abdomen?
What you think, Allison? What you got?
I'm gonna go with torso, and for the second part, I'm gonna pass it to Ainsley.
Ainsley.
The abdomen?
The abdomen is correct. The first part is called the thorax. The thorax. We have torsos, but insects have thoraxes. And Ainsley said, yeah, I remember that now. Yeah, it's a lot of pressure you guys are under. You're doing fine. Let's get this 25-point question in the zoo to wrap up that category. It's a visual question. Let's have a look. The nursery rhyme. Mary had a little lamb. Its fleece was white as snow, and everywhere that Mary went, the lamb was sure to go. Is an example of an animal fixating on a human as its mother, a process that goes by this I initialed name. And here you can see geese that are thinking this old man is their mother. What's that I initial term where animals fixate on a human being as their mother?
What do you think?
I don't know. I think you know the answer.
Is it interpretation? I don't think so.
Okay, I hear you're talking among yourselves. So, Allison, what is the consensus there? Did you have an answer for us?
I'm gonna pass it to Delali.
Delali? Okay, remember, it's I initial. The word must begin with an I. So what you got for me?
Interpretation.
Interpretation. That is an I initial word. It's called imprinting. They imprint on a human being. Imprinting. That's why, you know, if you get a baby duck, you know, it'll start following you all over the place because it's going to think that you are its mother. That duck is imprinted on you. All right, Bodyy Systems for 5 points. I don't know if your mom has ever told you this. Because this is 5 points in Bodyy System, because there's a danger of breaking the tympanum, most moms teach their children not to put anything bigger than their elbow inside this sense organ. Think of your sense organs. We have just 5 sense organs. Which one would you never want to put something inside of bigger than an elbow?
Your mouth?
No, it's your tongue because your mouth, even though I don't really think it's necessarily an organ for the senses.
Okay. The key word there was tympanum. The tympanum is another name for the timpani drums you play. That's the eardrum. So the ear was the answer. Don't put anything bigger than your elbow in your ear. Not that you could even do that, but that's the whole point. Don't be sticking things in your ear because you can break that eardrum. Let's do 15 points in Bodyy Systems. Multiple choice. When you go to bed at night, don't be looking at your phones. Don't be looking at your iPads or your laptops because doctors say you need to keep off your phones and your iPads just before bed because these devices emit a blue light which interferes with this sleep hormone. Is the hormone oxytocin, melatonin, or thyroxine?
Melatonin.
Melatonin is absolutely right. Some people take melatonin specifically to get to sleep. Good, 15 points. All right, for 25 points. Africa's sleeping sickness is caused by a parasite that is transmitted by the bite of a tsetse fly. The fly just like the mosquito that carries the malaria parasite, is known by this V initialed name, a name that means something that delivers something. V initialed name that is also a word that means a deliverer. If you watched a movie with the Minions and Gru, there was a character with this name.
Do you guys have an idea?
Talking about vector. Vector. A vector is a deliverer, something that can transmit an organism from one place to another. That means you end the first half with 75 points, but we have 9 more questions to go. I know you're going to come back and get them in the next round here, Phyllis A. Williams. Keep up your good work. We'll see you in a couple minutes. All right, it's now time to welcome back that team from Fort Foote. They're sitting on 165 points. They had a good first round. Let's see if they can keep it up in this second round of this championship match, this elementary school finale here. Let's introduce the young players to you. They've been on our show throughout the season, and they have been so impressive, as you have seen. Let's find out about them. I said at the top that we have sisters on here. We have got Zoe and Ruby. Zoe, tell us a little bit about yourself, if you would, please. How did you prepare for the Science Bowl?
I prepared for the Science Bowl by watching previous videos and by working on the quizzes that Ms. Ecosinas provided us, and by doing flashcards to, memorize certain things.
Absolutely. Well, you've obviously done a great job, and I know your coach, Ms. Ecosinas, is very proud of you. She's as excited as you guys are, maybe more so, and Dr. Daniel, your principal, also. And is it great to have a sister to kind of work with and practice?
Yeah, it is, because she's always helping me out to help me figure out the questions and
I can tell you're a good team, and I like how you delegate. Ruby's going to answer this one, and we're going to send this one over to Jace. So good luck in the second half here. You're a great captain. Let's talk to Ruby. Let's go to Sister Ruby. Ruby, you've come up with some great answers as well. The two of you seem to have really worked out a good system to come up with answers for these questions. Tell our audience a little bit about what you do in your spare time when you're not studying.
I play soccer and basketball, and I go outside a lot.
And you go, yeah. And finally, the weather is starting to break around here. It's good to be outside. And so you're obviously doing everything right. You're a good student, and you sound like you're a good athlete as well, and you're obviously a good sister. Good luck in the second half here. Let's talk to your teammate, Jace. Jace, nice to have you back here. I like how you take words apart. Your prefixes, your suffixes. You've really done a nice job preparing for the game here. Has this been fun for you?
Yes.
I can tell. And what grade are you in?
I'm in 4th grade.
I know, and I wanted you to say that for everybody, because as a 4th grader, you are very mature and you're disciplined, and I like how you're approaching your schoolwork here. What do you do in your spare time when you're not studying?
I play airplane games, and I build a fighter jet.
Really? Would you like to fly one in actuality someday?
Yes, and I remembered at the time I went to the Philippines, to go to a funeral because my grandfather.
Oh, I'm sorry about the loss of your grandfather, but you were on that plane, so you were fascinated by the flight.
Yes, and sometimes I didn't even sleep.
Yeah, it's hard to sleep on a plane, but that's a long flight. It's a long flight. You're a good young man, and you're a good player. Let's get back. Good luck in the second half. Let's get back to our questions here. All right, Fort Foote, let's start the last 9 questions in this championship match. Let's get physical. Here we go for 5 points. These C as in cat, these C initialed groups of stars can look like, to some people, swans, bears, camels, even winged horses.
Do you guys think it's constellations?
Yeah, it is constellations for 5 points. Absolutely right. Let's go to 15 points. One hypothesis to explain stuttering, which President Biden has coped with his entire life, is that the nerves connecting the two sides of the brain, known as the right and the left what, are not working properly.
Yeah, pass it to Jace.
So, the half is called a hemisphere, so they're called hemispheres.
Absolutely right, young man. Those are the right and the left hemispheres. And let's go to 25 points and let's get physical. A man by the name of Enrico Fermi created the first nuclear chain reaction for generating nuclear power by splitting uranium atoms in this F-initialed process. What F-initialed process means to split an atom.
Is it fission or fusion?
What do you think? Fission? The first one that Jace said, because fusion is better.
But they're splitting atoms apart.
Yeah.
Zoe, what you gonna go with here?
Fission, because fusion is to like
Yeah, put together. Yeah,
Put
we're
You
gonna
got
go
it
with
right.
fission.
Yeah, I liked how you worked that out. It is indeed nuclear fission. All right, let's go to potpourri. Nice work there. 5 points in potpourri. Some mushroom growers have taken to exposing their mushrooms to ultraviolet light, which causes them to produce this vitamin, much like human skin does when it is exposed to sunlight.
We're gonna go with vitamin D.
It is vitamin D, absolutely right. This is the 15-point question in potpourri. To prove that an ecosystem often relies on a single keystone species to keep everything else in order, a scientist removed all of these 5-armed echinoderms from an ocean bay and then watched as the ecosystem collapsed as a result. You can't just take one creature out, all of them, and think everything would remain the same. What creature are we talking about for 15 points?
I'm gonna pass it to Jace.
I think it's a starfish because it has 5 arms.
Yeah, I think you're right.
You got it. You got it. It is indeed the starfish. Nicely done. All right, to finish out potpourri, we have a visual question worth 25 points for you. And you'll recognize this dog. It's a bulldog. Bulldogs will no longer be bred in Norway, the country of Norway, because so much inbreeding has occurred that these S-initialed spaces in the dog's face make it difficult for the dog to breathe. We have these same S-initialed spaces in our faces that get stuffed up when we have the common cold. Name those S-initialed spaces.
We're gonna go with sinuses.
It is indeed sinuses, absolutely right. Got you 25 points. Last 3 questions of the game. Let's go to DATELINE for 5. DATELINE for 5 points, please. Multiple choice. A xenograft. I know you guys know your prefixes and suffixes. The prefix here is xeno, X-E-N-O. A xenograft made headlines a few months ago as a dog kidney, a bear gallbladder, or a pig heart was successfully given to a human being. Good. Unmute yourselves there so we can hear you. And again.
So what does xeno mean, Ruby?
I was thinking that maybe it would be the bear. I was thinking the pig. The pig.
Choose carefully.
Okay.
I know the wait, did he say graph?
Yes. Graph.
So graph means
A
to draw
xenograph, yes.
or record.
Yeah.
What you got here?
What do you think, friend? A pig? You have to speak up. I think it's a pig.
It is the pig, yes. In fact, that made headlines. It was a pig heart, and it was able to survive for quite long because it had been genetically engineered so that the human that received it did not reject it, which oftentimes happens. Xeno means strange. Xenograft, from a stranger, a different species. Here's your 15-point question in Dateline. A Mars rover built by the British has been named for a woman by the name of Rosalind Franklin, who should have shared the Nobel Prize for the discovery of this double helix-shaped molecule. But she died before the ceremony. So the prize went to her two collaborators, Watson and Crick. Name that molecule.
DNA.
It is DNA, absolutely. You made that one look easy. 25-point question to end your game. Marie Maynard Daly, the first African-American woman to receive a PhD in chemistry, was the first to link this C, as in cat, this C initialed fat, the amount of which is listed on all food labels, as a cause of heart disease.
I'm going to pass it to Ruby. I think it's calories. Or is it cholesterol? Because of cholesterol? Or no?
Or is it trans fat or not?
He said it started with a C. So
Yeah, so it's cholesterol.
I've heard calories, I've heard cholesterol, or it is a kind of fat. It's listed on all food labels, and it is known as a cause of heart disease in some forms. What you got?
we're going to go with cholesterol.
And that is absolutely right. That's 25 points for you right there. So you did a terrific job. And I have some very good news for you. That means you end the game with 300 points. Your best showing thus far. Let's see if that will be enough to get you the championship. Congratulations, Foote. You did a terrific job. We'll see you again in a couple moments. All right, it is time to bring back that team from Phyllis E. Williams, and they're aiming to really rack up the points here in the second half. Before we ask any questions, any science questions, a few personal ones. If you've not had the pleasure of meeting these young people during the course of our competition this year, here's your chance. Let's go to the captain of the team, and that's Allison. Allison, tell us how you know so much science. You're just so cool and calm and collected.
In my free time, it depends because I'll read, but in other times I'll join Zooms with my friends and we'll just study.
Yeah, and just study. And I have no problem believing that that's what you do, because I can just see what a great student you are and have been throughout this whole competition here. And I wish you good luck here in the second half as we end up this final game of the season. Let's talk to your teammates. Let's go to Ainsley. Ainsley, nice to have you back. Tell us a little bit about why you wanted to do this. Why did you want to be on the Science Bowl? We're really glad you made the decision to.
I wanted to be on the Science Bowl because it was a chance to increase my knowledge of science.
And we hope that's happening. And you're also letting us know the science you know already, which is a formidable amount. Obviously, you've been doing everything right and studying, and you wouldn't have made it to the finals had you not done that. Keep it up in the second half here. And the last player here is Delali. Delali, nice to have you on the show too. Tell us the Delali story. Why did you want to do this?
I wanted to do the Science Bowl because it's very fun and competitive, and it will increase my knowledge in science.
Those are very good reasons, yes. And it is, you know, we want it to be an instructional program, which it is, but I know all of you appreciate the competition. Everybody wants to win. That's human nature. You want to show how much you know, and you've won just by being here today, and the championship is at stake here. So good luck in the second half here, Delali. All right, Phyllis C. Williams, your last 9 questions. Let's get physical for 5 points. Here we go. If you're studying plasma blasts and coronal loops, you're likely a heliophysicist. H-E-L-I-O. You're likely a heliophysicist, a scientist who specializes in the study of what heavenly body?
What were you saying? The head? Your brain?
This is something in the sky, a heavenly body, a heliophysicist. Plasma blasts, coronal loops. You're specializing in the study of the
Science.
Okay, I want to hear from Allison.
Thermosphere.
I'm passing it to Ainsley.
Ainsley, what do you got?
The study of sun.
Study of the sun, absolutely right. Helio means sun. Good. You're off to a good start with those 5 points. Let's go to 15 points. Here's a big name, but I think you're going to be able to get this one. Something called a pluviometer. Pluviometer. A pluviometer is a meteorological instrument used by weathermen for measuring rain, which along with snow, sleet, and hail is considered a type of this. Something that falls from the sky. Hail, snow, rain, sleet, that's all known. All of those are different forms of what?
Water.
Rain.
It has another word.
Gas.
Sometimes you hear it on weather reports, the chance of this happening.
Precipitation.
That's it, precipitation. Precipitation, that's what I want to hear. That's 15 points. All right, 25 points. If you've ever watched Sesame Street at all, you probably will know this. These two B as in boy, initial Sesame Street characters are known for dreaming up weird science experiments and inventions. They came up with edible paper clips and banana sharpeners. Are named for two actual pieces of laboratory equipment. One, a piece of glassware. The other, a source of flames. Give them both to me.
Is it a beaker?
A beaker is the one, that's the glassware. What's the source of the flames?
But wait.
Say it. Have you ever heard of or seen a Bunsen burner? A Bunsen burner. The characters are Dr. Bunsen Honeydew and his assistant Beaker. All right, let's go to another category here. Let's go to Potpourri for your 5-point question. All right, multiple choice. You know, you've been hearing a lot about COVID, drugs. If you take certain pain-relieving drugs, they can damage your kidneys, lead to bleeding in your digestive tract, and they can cause asymptomatic stomach ulcers. So, you're taking a pain-relieving drug. It can cause asymptomatic stomach ulcers, meaning that you don't feel them, that they're hard to treat, or that they could be fatal. Asymptomatic. You don't feel them, they're hard to treat, or they could be fatal.
Don't feel them.
You don't feel them, absolutely right. That's why they were saying, you know, some people with COVID, they're asymptomatic. They didn't even know they had it. They were walking around. They didn't show any. A means without. Good answer. Good. Let's go to 15 points in Potpourri. Oh, this was great. If you watched the television just recently, telescopes recently showed us a super maximal black hole right there, smack in the middle of this galaxy where we live. Name that galaxy.
The Milky Way.
The Milky Way.
Milky Way is correct. Yes, they call it Sagittarius A, right there in the Milky Way. Thousands of telescopes all combined to come up with that wonderful picture. All right, Potpourri for 25. The big question is a visual question. Let's have a look. Two snakes. One you can pick up, one don't even go near it. A scarlet king snake, a non-venomous snake that closely resembles the deadly coral snake with similar coloration. To know the difference, remember this: red touching black, safe for Jack. Red touching yellow, kill a fellow. This copycat phenomenon, which occurs throughout nature, is a defensive device known as what? Another name for copycat.
Mimicking?
Mimicking, absolutely right. That's a good answer. Mimicry is what we were looking for there. Got yourself 25 points. You needed those. Let's go to the Dateline category for 5. Woolly mammoths and mastodons were similar elephant-like mammals. But since mammoths were grazers and mastodons were browsers, meaning they ate from the trees, they didn't eat from the ground, their dentition, their teeth, were different. Especially different were the shapes of these M-initialed grinding teeth at the back of the mouth.
Molars.
Molars is right. You got it. 15 in Dateline. When our first president, George Washington, lay dying in the year 1799, doctors bled him. Back there, they thought if they cut you, the blood would take away what ailed you. They bled him, and they gave him potions to drink that included the chemical with the elements, with the symbol capital H, small g, that made him sweat. What chemical from the periodic table has the symbol capital H, small g? It is poisonous. And they actually gave it to the president, and it caused him to sweat to try to cure him. That's mercury. Mercury is Hg. Let's get to the last question in your game. It was in 1949 that chemist Linus Pauling discovered that sickle cell anemia that afflicts red blood cells is caused by a change in this H-initialed protein that makes your blood red. What's the H-initialed substance in your blood that makes it red?
Hydrogen.
Hydrogen's a good try. Have you ever heard of hemoglobin? Hemoglobin is the red substance inside your blood cell, and without that, it wouldn't be red at all. You did get some extra points there in that second round. You're going to end this game with 145 points. Great job here today, Phyllis E. Williams. Well, that was it. A great finale to a great season here. As we said at the top of the show, both of these schools, Phyllis E. Williams and Fort Foote, have made Science Bowl history. Neither has ever been here in our 36 years, and it was worth the wait. It was worth the wait. We hope that they will not wait another 36 years. We won't have to wait for them to be back here in the winner's circle. Everyone wins today. We have gold medals for that team from Fort Foote with 300 points. What a performance today. Let's have a nice round of applause for that Fort Foote team. And with 145 points, another round of applause for the Phyllis E. Williams team. We have silver medals for them. And medals cannot convey our thanks. We also want to thank the coaches, Wendy Lamond and Glenda S. Casinas from Phyllis E. Williams and Fort Foote, respectively. Ladies, without you, this wouldn't have happened. You put in a lot of work, and your students wouldn't be here without your support. And the principals, Dr. Daniel from Fort Foote, and Ms. Rogers, Cynthia Rogers from Phyllis E. Williams, again, thank you for being behind these teams from the very beginning. We thank all of you for watching Science Bowl. We hope you've had a great time. We hope you've learned some science from the questions I asked and from the answers these young people have given. They're terrific. We couldn't be prouder of them. For everybody here associated with Science Bowl, Rodney Jones, Chuck Wolf, and Janine Dorothy, our judge, I'm Dave Zarin, and thank you very much. We hope to see you next year. Bye-bye.